everyone. This is Rachel going live. So I was due to go live on Single Parents Hub tonight at 7 o'clock, and we've been having some technical difficulties. So we're switching over here, and Tarini is going to come and join us here. And then when she's joined us, she will do the interview that we were hoping to do. So fingers crossed, we'll get it working here. Tarini hosts the Single Parents Hub, which is a fantastic resource for single parents such as myself who are trying to do the very best they can for their children whilst building their own businesses perhaps and trying to make the best lives they can for themselves. So I'm looking to see if Tarini has found us. Aha, I think it's possible she may be on. I'm just going to wait and see if she can find us here. Now what I need to do is invite her on. So here I'm turning that on and just waiting a moment. Aha, she's here. So I'm approving, adding, and let's see. Are you there, Tarini? Aha!
Hi, how are you doing? Yes, but the angle is not ideal, but I think it's great that we are here anyway. So let's doing this.
Yeah.
I have to see how am I going to hold my camera. Okay. How are you, Rachel?
I'm very well, thank you. I'm glad we've sorted out our technical difficulties.
Yes, hang on. I'm not sure because my phone are on the other side. How am I going to hold this? Okay, so shall I take over?
Yes, please do.
This is very unusual because this what we original plan is as a Single Parents Hub Facebook Live, and now we hijack Rachel page, but we all support parents anyway, so it's a great collaboration. My name is Tarini Sawetnapanon. I'm a founder of Single Parents Hub. We are a global community that support single parents and their children so that they can have a happier, healthier, and financially free life. And today, thanks for coming on board, or thanks for letting me hijack your website and share with us how can we raise a happy and confident child, especially now, as you know, most of us live in a very, very busy life. How can we make sure that as we juggle and try to complete and get as many things done, our children still happy and content, and especially they are very secure that they can play on their own, because sometimes we find that children can become very needy and they feel anxiety, right? So they don't want us to leave their side, and then we end up having quite clingy children. They're quite anxious and we cannot get our job done. It doesn't mean that as the parents we want to ignore them. No, we want to help them to become confident and content in themselves, which I think I'm quite happy that you helping parents with very young children, because I can see that they need to be start from the beginning, from when they very young age, because sometimes what I come across is a lot of parents, when they have children 8, 10, 12, it's a bit quite difficult to set up the foundation. So, the earlier is the better.
Yes. So it's interesting what you're saying. So yes, so I do work with parents who have children between birth and about sort of 2.5 to 3 years.
Mm-hmm.
And like you say, creating great foundations for parenting is the best way, really. But obviously, there are things that you can bring in from the approach that I've been inspired by and that I use. that you can use in any relationship that you have, whether it's with your children, whatever age they're at, or even with your own partner or your parents or anyone.
Excellent.
But yeah, so the basis of it really is a sort of mindfulness. I mean, people talk about mindfulness a lot these days, but it's really to do with trying not to be doing too many things at once.
Okay.
So when we talk about being mindful, we talk about living in the moment and being sort of with what you're doing. So the way this translates for this approach is really, well, it's about spending the time that you're with your children totally with them. So your attention is completely focused on them, on what their needs are, and at the same time, you're trying very hard not to be distracted, whether it's by your phone, you don't have the radio on, you don't have the television on, you try really hard not to think about what you're going to cook for dinner or where you should be right now, but you're not. So it's really, in that sense, you're being mindful. You are just focusing and giving really clear and I'm trying to think of a good word. Well, it's a real loving attention. It's loving attention to your child. And when you give them that, and you, I mean, you still have your boundaries, you still make sure that you are clear about what's okay and what isn't. But suppose, for instance, with a little one, they need to have a nappy changed.
Okay.
One of the most common things that we do is to think, we need to change a nappy. We whisk the child up off the floor or out of their cot or whatever it is. We kind of plonk them down on the changing table. We get everything around. We try and do it as quickly as possible while we're distracting them with some rattly thing, talking to them, singing to them, whatever it is we're doing. But we kind of try and get it over and done with as quickly as possible so that they can get back to what they were doing and we can get back to what we were doing, whether that was together or separately, whatever it was. But with this approach, what we look at is that these care moments, the moments you're actually spending time with your child because there is anyway a need, can be these mindful moments. Why not allow 20 minutes to change a nappy? In that time, you then can be with the child. You can do it slowly, really slowly. Taking your time, talking about what you're doing, letting them know what you're going to do before you do it, so they've got time to prepare themselves.
Okay.
You know, so it's a bit like, I mean, supposing you were going to go and pick up your little one, if you just go and whisk them up off the floor, it's very tense. It's a very tense thing. If you imagine someone coming up behind you and suddenly pushing their arms around you and picking you up, you wouldn't like that. No. So it's the same for children, and we don't always allow for that in our relationships. We just think, oh, we'll just do this quickly, and we don't say to them, I'm going to do this now. So that's one way of being really mindful, of allowing the child to become involved in the process that we're doing and to make them feel like they are truly recognized and truly heard, if you like. I mean, they may not be saying much, but they are letting them communicate to us the same way that we are communicating to them, noticing what they are letting us know by a movement or a turn of the head or whatever it is, acknowledging it, being able to say to them, oh, I can see you're busy at the moment, but it's time to change your nappy, or whatever it is. And then in the time that we spend with them, when we're really focused on them and our attention is focused on them, they really enjoy that. They really feel it. And it's like you're filling them up with all your love and attention in that moment. And once they feel full, once they feel satisfied, then when that time is over, nappy change that we were using as an example, you can then take them, you can go back to where perhaps they were playing, or perhaps they're ready for a rest or whatever it is. You can go back to that situation, put them down, and most likely, especially over time when they get used to this and enjoying kind of this attention of yours, when it's become a more habitual thing,
Mm-hmm.
they will feel satisfied, they will
Yeah.
feel happy and content, and they will get on with their work, which
Mm-hmm.
for a child is play, exploration, learning what their bodies can
Mm-hmm.
do,
Yes.
turning, moving. So while they're then doing that, you can either sit back and enjoy that and watch it, or if you really need to, you go off, you get your work, you get your, you do your laundry, you do whatever it is that
Mm-hmm.
you need
Mm-hmm.
to do. So in those times, you're then able to get on with something else. And I also, say, so when you're then, perhaps it is the washing up that you're doing, whatever it is, be fully focused on the washing up.
Mm-hmm.
Do that. Don't be
Yeah.
doing anything else. Don't be worrying about
Yeah.
anything else, because that, and you'll be amazed at what a difference
Mm.
it makes. I think the thing that really it's, so it's about being mindful on the one hand and
Yes.
not multitasking on the other.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Yes.
We're told, yeah,
Exactly. Yeah.
yeah,
We told to be multitasking as a mom,
yeah,
especially we are specialized
yeah,
in that. But
yeah,
as you say, even for the business, I find that when you focus on one things and which you saying it in a soft way of being mindful and put 100% attention in whatever you do is the most effective way to do it.
yes, yeah,
And it's for me when you're saying that it's more to the parents, isn't it? It's for to ourselves that we are mindful that, oh, okay, slow down and taking more time to enjoy it and be
yes,
at that present moment. And if you need to, okay, I need to do the nappy changing, then you focus on the child, not like focus on the nappy, but focus on the child. You can talk to them. So
yeah,
just make every moment count and have more meaningful with the children. That's
yeah,
wonderful things to do.
yeah. And going along with that is the way that you do actually talk to them, so that when you're speaking about what's happening, you really are talking about what's happening.
Mm-hmm.
So by talking about what is happening for the child, you're helping them to be present also to the moment. And in those moments, they can start to cooperate. So even the very youngest child will
Mm-hmm.
learn over time, especially if you do things in a similar way every day,
Yes. Mm-hmm.
they will learn to cooperate, which makes your job easier and
Yeah.
also makes this partnership so much more joyful,
Mm-hmm.
because
And
you both know what's going to happen. There'll be some playing in there as well, but it's really being able to say and be really open and honest with the child. So, not to in an age appropriate
uh-huh.
way,
Of course.
obviously, but just to be able to say, oh, I'm changing your nappy, or it's the dirty one, or you've had a
Mm-hmm.
poo. I'm going to clean you up now. Oh, I
Mm-hmm.
need you to lie still while I do that, and things like that, so that they're not being separated
Mm-hmm.
from what's actually happening to them.
Yes. I
And this
think
way they
when,
understand.
yes, of course. And I think also, obviously, I don't know how much baby can understand the actual language, but when you saying that when you are at present, be at present, and then you are on a peaceful state of mind, I think they might picking up from our energy and our
Mm,
tone of voice. So regardless of what actually you saying to them, I think they're picking up from that energy. And
mm,
like what you're saying, if we are aware of our own energy and emotion while we're doing that, so we're not jerking and make the emotion like a sudden emotion, so their emotion keep up to the peaceful level, so they can keep their contents and be happy regardless of whatever we're doing to them.
mm.
Yes.
And of course, there sometimes things do go wrong, and
Mm-hmm.
sometimes the child is upset.
Yes.
For whatever reason, maybe they don't want to be disturbed, but their nappy is really dirty. I know I keep
Mm-hmm.
talking about nappy changing, but it could be
Yes.
various things.
Mm-hmm.
But also, you can't. You also have to understand, I think, that just like an adult,
Mm-hmm.
if I were to be feeling upset
Yes.
because I don't know, I'm just having a bad day,
Uh-huh.
and someone came up to me and said, "Oh, it's okay, you're all right." but I know that I'm not all right, then I'm not going to really trust that person very much, or I'm not
Yes.
going to think
Yeah,
that they really
exactly.
care very much about me.
So you don't
So if I
understand what
say
I've gone through. Yes.
no, so if I, if you have a child who is very upset and actually seems to really need a good cry, learning to actually accept that and be able to say, oh, you really need a good cry. I'll hold you while you cry. Is a real acceptance. It's an acceptance that they are a whole human being with all the emotions that we have also. They're not something separate. It's not them and us. We understand them and then acknowledge their feelings. We can't always know what the feelings are, but we can, you can use a word like upset. It's a great word.
Yes.
We acknowledge their feelings. We say, it's okay. I'll be here for you when you need me, or whatever it is. And then they are able to feel heard, feel acknowledged. And it's amazing how quickly they then are able to recognize their own feelings, but also move on.
That's good.
If a little one falls over and bumps their head on the floor, and you say, oh, you fell over and you bumped your head on the floor. It's amazing how quickly they understand. And then, oh, okay, that's what happened. I feel better now. Half of the upset is often not knowing what happened. And if you whisk them up and say, oh, it's okay, and try to distract them, which, I mean, I did that with all my children. I didn't know any better.
Yes.
But if you're actually able to just say, oh, yes, you fell over and you bumped your head, look, just here on the floor, they somehow get it. And then they're able to move on and feel better sooner.
That's very good. This principle can also, apply to us grown up. It's nice to be able to express our own feeling and have some shoulder to cry on and say, you don't want any comforting, explaining or anything. You just want someone to be there so you can give them a hug and just let it out. So once you let it out, get it out of your system, you feel much better. That's very good point. So what do you think, what can we do to help our child to become more confident?
So from an early age, there are different things, but one particular aspect that I'm really interested in is a kind of body confidence. So allowing the child to understand who they are from the viewpoint of how they move and learning how to move naturally, perhaps is a good word, because again, so if you have a little one and you have them lying comfortably on the floor, so firm surface, they can move around, it's not cold, they've got everything they need, with just a few interesting things around them, they are free then to move as and how they want. They might just turn their heads, they might be moving and crawling by this time, but if you put them down on their back, they are then free to start to turn and to move and to do what they are ready to do. You're not teaching them, so you're not actually teaching them to do anything. You're allowing them to find their way, because of course, like every other animal in the animal kingdom, we are an animal, and it's inbuilt into our DNA to get up and walk. So if we I mean, for hundreds, thousands of years, human beings have been trying to teach their children to walk, and we always do it. And even just to sit up or anything like that. But actually, if you allow the child to find their own way, the children I've seen who do that in the classes that I run, they, when the parents come fully on board with that and they allow this to happen naturally, it's incredible to see the strength and the straight backs and the confidence that they have, especially once they're standing up. They're firm and strong. They know who they are. They know what their place is and their space is in the world. It really is incredible.
Wow, that sounds amazing. Yeah.
And so with that confidence, if they've got that confidence already in themselves, it's much easier for them to be out in the world relating to other people and different situations. They know where they feel safe and where they don't. And the adult can learn to trust them, to know what they know. and the child will trust that the adult is there for them when they need them. So as adults, it's one of the hardest things as parents is actually stepping back, being available, but being able to be a bit more hands off, less helping and possibly interfering actually with the natural process.
Okay.
And more just trying to be there, be aware, make sure they're safe, make sure, you know, that they have everything they need, but really seeing who they are as an individual, because of course, you know, they are their own person.
Of course. So you think sometimes helping children with everything is not always helpful then?
Yeah.
No,
it's not. Because if you, I mean, that's the thing, is that if again, if you think of an example for an adult, I mean, if you're trying to work out how to do some slightly complicated process on your computer, say, and you say to someone, oh, I'm really struggling with this, and they just come along and go, oh, I'll do it, and they just do it for you. You haven't actually learned anything, have you?
Yeah.
So, and the more that happens, the more often people come in and do things for you, the less you bother trying.
Yeah.
Because why bother trying if there's someone there who can do it better?
Yeah,
you know,
and
so you
and I think in the long term, instead of we try to build up the confidence in children, they probably getting more and more scared, right? Because mommy saying that, oh, don't do that, it's going to hurt you, I'm going to do this for you, don't you just not allowed to do anything. So we limit their creativity and you know, to become and find out for themselves who they are and what they're capable of.
That's right. And we also sometimes put on to them our own
fear,
feelings or imagination or fear, you know, positive and negative things, but sometimes it's more about us instead of allowing them to become them. We don't know who they're going to be as people. You know, they need our guidance. They need to learn our values and our customs and learn to live in the society that they live in. But other than that, they need to find out who they are. So they need to know what it feels like when you do this, what something else is like when you touch it, or when you know, if you bang it with something, you know, what. And it's like with toys. If you've got something that is what we call open-ended, so a block, whether it's a block of wood or you know, it could be a cup. You know, to us it might be a cup. To the child, they might turn it on its end. They might put it this way. They might put things in it, take things out of it. If they've got a set, they'll be sorting them. They'll be doing all sorts. But it doesn't have to be a cup. It could be whatever they want it to be.
Yes.
And again, if we allow that imagination or that discovery and exploration to happen naturally, without putting labels on everything, and just being able to say, oh yes, I can see you've picked up a cup. You don't have to say what's in it, is it all those kind of things. So when they're older, they love that. But you know, in the first few years, really, it's just so helpful and actually really, I find it fascinating as well, just to watch and just to see what it is that they feel like doing.
Anyone that watching now, do you have any question to ask Rachel once we are here? And welcome, you know, to Single Parents Hub. So we have many useful tips that Rachel just shared with us. So one other things I'd like to ask you is, so as we try to build up the confidence for children, and you know, I'm not too sure is there such a thing as a work-life balance, but anyway, we try. How can we find time for ourselves while the children still, you know, while we still can make sure the children are happy and content and, you know, be by our side or by the room next door? So how could we find, you know, the time for ourselves when we have a very hectic and busy life?
Yes, that's a good question. So especially for single parents,
Mm-hmm.
this can be really, really hard. Unless you have a support system around you where you're able to have someone come in and look after your children, or someone you can go to and say, here, can you look after them for me today? I really need to go and get a massage, or I really need to go shopping, or I really need to actually just get my head down and get some work done. If you don't have that, it can be really, really difficult.
Yes.
So going back to the mindful approach that we were talking about at the beginning, if you can set up a kind of rhythm to your day where, you know, if your children are at home with you, if they're still very young and they're at home with you, where you can have a rhythm so that they know what to expect. So you always do things in a similar way, you know, whether it's having breakfast, having naps, having lunch, having times when they're playing and resting. If that rhythm becomes fairly stable for them, and if you're happy to just stay at home and be with them more rather than thinking you've got to take them out all the time, because they don't really need it. I mean, we often need it for our own support.
Yes.
But if you can have days where you have this rhythm and it's all quite quiet and calm, you will find that there are pockets of time where your child is happy in their activity. And during those moments, you can be happy in your activity. And by being that, even if that activity is folding the laundry or washing up or cooking something, if you're doing that in a mindful way, then you actually get joy from it, and it feeds you.
Yes.
And it makes you feel better. And you feel more positive, and you're not still feeling like you've got a million things to do. You know, have a list if you want and get ready to tick things off. You have to find what works for you. But it really is a case of being accepting what is, because often there's nothing we can do to change our situation. Once you've accepted it, instantly you start to feel better, because it's like a weight off your shoulders. This is how it is. And then once you've got that, finding time when you are just totally with your child, as I said before, so that they have your full attention and you have joy together. Then when you know that they're happy and content, or perhaps they're asleep, then you can go and focus on your laptop, or on reading that book, or on having a hot soak in the bath, whatever it is that you need to do in that moment. It does sound a bit like a pipe dream, but actually, it does take work. It doesn't happen overnight.
Of course.
But when you start to really try and work with this, just taking it moment by moment, day by day, starting again every time it doesn't go quite how you want it to, it's really amazing to see how much calmer you can be as a parent. And perhaps how much more realistic you can be about what actually you want to get done, what you can get done. You know, we can't do everything. We have to be realistic about what is possible, and not build up the expectation that we can do everything. Which turns into resentment for our children, resentment for ourselves, resentment for our bosses, for life in general. You know, it's just such a negative feeling to have, and I've been there. I've had that, and it's not a happy place to be.
No, it's not. Nisam said thank you, and he said it's very great educational that every parents in the world can apply and use that. And I think you point out many interesting points, that there are many tasks that we have to do it anyway, so might as well enjoying it. So instead of you feel resentful or just seeing it as a chore, we might just take time and actually enjoy and take the moments to do it. And also, as you said, set up the routine for the children. That is very important, because they know what to expect and they get used to the routine. And then you know the time that you can just get on with what you're doing. Or when I have my children, when they're quite young, when they have a nap, I just nap with them. So I'm exhausted as well. So when they have their afternoon nap, I just nap with them. Why try to feel more things in the day? I just go with the flow. So like what you said, accept it and surrender and just go with the flow, just whatever thing it is. Don't expecting too much. What happened now, I think we are expecting to do too many to-do lists. Every day we try to cram a lot of things in, and you set yourself for the failure, and also you just stress yourself out. And when you stress yourself out, that energy going to the children.
Yeah.
Yes.
Exactly.
Excellent. Thank you very much, Rachel, for sharing many wonderful and quite useful idea for us to raise the confident and happy and content child. What do you do now for the parents? Do you have any courses or center that you can support parents?
Yes, I do. Yes, thank you for asking. Yes, so I've got a newish course actually called Authentic Parenthood, which is really looking at a lot of the aspects that we've talked about this evening, with sort of three main topics, but they overlap quite a lot, to do with play and facilitating this kind of free self-chosen play by the child, and to do with care, whether it's caring for yourself or caring for the child or both, and also to do with communication. So how we communicate. It's a 5-week course, and I'm just getting people to sign up now actually for the next run of the course, which will be from the end of April. And I also run classes, weekly classes, so that people.
And where do you base? Where do you base?
Yeah, I'm based not far from Reading in Berkshire, and quite close to Newbury, which is also Berkshire, West Berks. And it's a little village called Padworth near Aldermaston, and I have a beautiful room which you can see some of behind me, where I run these classes and courses currently. But I'm also available to travel, so it's the kind of thing I can take out as well. So if there were a group of people somewhere,
excellent. Maybe we can, maybe we can arrange some workshop as a single parents, and then we can come and do it together.
That would be wonderful.
And Rachel's also our expert on Single Parents Hub, so I'm going to put all her information and profile and all your courses, everything on Single Parents Hub website, which is www.singleparentshub.com, and it's the free subscription, so please sign up and you have the full access to all the resources and events, and we're going to upload this interview, Facebook Live interview, into our resources as well, so people can go and check out and learn, because this is how we learn, this is how we support each other as a parents. Each one of us have something to share, so it's wonderful to have you come on board and give us support. So thank you very much, Rachel.
Thank you, Tarini. Thank you very much.
Thank you. And when we upload this Facebook Live, can you please just give us the link on the comments of your website and all your page and all the courses, so all the viewers can go straight and have a check on your courses, because it sounds wonderful. And thank you for create all these courses, because we need to learn more how to actually doing things properly, so we can make sure that we set up the foundation right for the children, and they can grow up to be a very confident, happy and successful children.
Yes, and we can become happy and confident and successful parents.
Excellent. Thank you very much, Rachel.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Tarini.
Take care. Have a nice evening.
Thank you. You too.
Bye. Bye.
Bye-bye.